tight end, top five.
Top five. Let's see. Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, and then Zach Ertz, Tyler Higbee, Dallas Goedert. I feel like those last three are all like kind of the fantasy flex favorites.
Yeah.
So it's fun to see them inside the top five this week.
I'm going Kelce, Andrews, Kittle, Ertz, Higbee. So, Kittle is still coming out 3 for me. It's like he's still running a route over 80% of the time. And so like he only played a few games. So I'm still, using some of his priors. He's still #good, but I feel like they got to get him going like sooner than later. Like he had the fumble. He's probably kicking himself. I think he also had a touchdown that he like a near touchdown that he dropped or whatever. So it's just kind of a bet on talent with me for Kittle. And because this is not really a great tight end week. Like last week I was super high on Goddard, but this week against Dallas, a lot of pressure, not quite a little more man coverage, perhaps just not necessarily a great Goddard week. And then Higbee, it's like every catch he gets is like a carry. It's like 3 yards, 2 yards.
Hey, those
4 yards.
Still count in half PPR and full PPR, man.
Yeah. No, they do. Like I got Higbee 5th. I'm just who's the guy? I guess Goddard is my 6th. So yeah, just the Eagles this week. This. I got a lot of respect for this Dallas D. So I'm projecting the Eagles. One of their lower point scoring totals of the year. Kind of in line with Vegas there at. Vegas has them projected, let's see, about under 24 points this week. So, for an Eagles team that has been kind of above that 26, 27 mark most weeks, just that's probably what's knocking them out. But they're essentially tied. But I do like Ertz this week. Ertz is he's going up against what is it? That Seahawks defense, and they are 32nd in DVOA against tight end, I believe. So that's a That's
I think 33rd. I think Alabama ranks ahead of them. I think we're now dipping into the minor leagues here. But
what's crazy? What's crazy about that, right? That doesn't count anything from Taysom Hill. Like if you look at their fantasy points against tight ends, it's even crazier.
Yeah.
Taysom Hill just had 3 rushes.
Play as many like whenever you see at Seattle or versus Seattle, just play that person. I don't care who it is.
And Ertz should have had another catch. Kyler Murray, man, just overthrew him with the game on the line. Just a mistake-filled game for Kyler. But who are you high
on? So I'm high on Taysom Hill. He's my tight end 9 right now versus the consensus of tight end 11. It might sound like I'm a week late to the party, but I have been saying he has the widest range of outcomes of any tight end in fantasy football history. And back in week 2, I was saying, he's a good bench stash just to see what happens. But in hindsight, he's the kind of guy that we should have been playing, as opposed to, a guy like, I don't know, Noah Fant or some, nobody
was playing.
Exactly. I'm trying to think of somebody.
you mean like Tyler,
maybe like a Gerald Everett even, where
Robert Tonyan or somebody.
Robert Tonyan, perfect example. Where, he might be a better bet to score, 3 to 4 points. Congratulations. But when it comes to the tight end position, everybody kind of has a really low floor. So Taysom Hill has this godly ceiling. And, we just saw it last week. Unfortunately, it's going to be impossible to get him now on the waiver wire. It's going to require, a shit ton of fab or your number 1 waiver. But either way, like he's the kind of guy in this range. I'm all about playing him. We're not going to see a game like last week again, but I think that they have said that going forward, they're going to get him more involved in the offense. So I just think he is the cheat code play at tight end. And I have been kind of saying that quietly the past few weeks, but now that the cat's out of the bag, like we just have to go all in with him. So he is a top 10 tight end going forward.
How high did you have him last week?
I had him. We have different, we can explain. We have different things in our spreadsheet where I have like quarterback passing projections and rushing projections, all that. All told, I was like tight end 13, I believe. You were a little bit higher than me.
Yeah, I ended up tight end 12. But that should like for fantasy pros, that should be really good for both of us.
The consensus. Yep.
I think that was the 2 top rankings.
Absolutely. And the consensus was tight end 29.
Yeah.
So things like that is really what helps us shoot up into and stay into the top 5. Yeah. So I think both of us being high on him last week was really good for that contest. But but we've been projecting him pretty high for past few weeks now when he was healthy. Of course, he missed what was it, week 3 or something like that? But
Yeah.
when he's been healthy, we've been projecting him like a top, sort of 15 tight end.
Yep. Yeah, I have him for like 5 carries for 31 yards, about 3 receiving yards, and then let's see.
Wait, where do you rank him this week?
I have him actually it's 14, so I'm a little low. I'm like,
okay.
So I'm a little further down. I last week must have just been a bad tight end week, but I mean, it's very close. So I mean, he's gonna be in that startable range either way. Like I wouldn't knock anyone from starting him. It's just more, be prepared for the low floor. That's essentially.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah. But I would say there's only about 8 tight ends I would start over him. And even then, like I think when it comes to fantasy football and tight end position specifically, if you don't have a top 5 tight end, you should be shooting for the moon anyway. We kind of talk about that when it comes to our draft strategy. Once you have 3 wide receivers, start shooting for upside. Like if you're already kind of streaming tight ends or don't have a top 5 guy, like Taysom Hill is your guy, and you have to expect a wide range of outcomes. But I think it's warranted at this point.
Absolutely. All right, I have let's see. Irv Smith is the guy I'm high on. Finally. After all that, he had a season high 68% route participation rate last week. And Miami is 29th in DVOA against tight ends. They're giving up the 4th most catches per game to tight ends, the 7th most receiving yards per game to tight ends at 61. So again, it's bye weeks. Just tight ends, all about routes. Unless you're Taysom Hill, it's all about routes. Yeah. It's all about routes. And Irv Smith is just he's creeping up there. So don't love it, but he is a guy. I'm tight end 11 on him. Consensus is tight end 15. So take that for what it's worth, I guess.
Would you start Irv Smith over Taysom Hill?
At this point, early in the week, yes. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it could go either way.
Okay.
Let's see. I have Irv Smith. Let's see, Taysom Hill. I have them separated by 0.3 points. So it could go either.
I'm just saying, shoot for the moon, man.
Hey, Irv Smith has got to have like a 5-catch, 68-yard, 2-touchdown game soon, one of these days, right? Right?
He doesn't have a. He turns into the quarterback because Andy Dalton goes down in game. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, I have Hill projected for about just under 10% of the quarterback.
I know. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves because that is my prop that I'm going to offer you. So I don't want you to reveal anything.
Okay.
But obviously, we can only project them for 1 or 2 attempts. But if Jameis Winston is out this week and Andy Dalton gets banged up in game, Taysom Hill would be the quarterback the rest of the game. That's kind of what I'm getting at.
Yeah. No.
When it comes to his ceiling, like think about that. But yeah, again, we'll discuss that more in depth when it comes to our player prop.
I figured you were gonna go with David. Who are you low on?
Oh man, we're tied on this, so I will let you go first.
Tyler Conklin. I feel like every Jet. Am I just lower on Zach? Like, listen, I like Zach Wilson. I feel like he's been playing well, but like, you can't project this guy for more than like 230 passing yards at least yet, like until he shows something. So, Tyler Conklin's a consensus tight end 12. I have him tight end 29, and that's not just because of being maybe low on Zach Wilson. It's because CJ Uzomah ran 54% of the routes last week. Conklin ran 29%. So I don't know if that was a benching, a demotion, an injury. Like, we haven't seen the injury report for this week yet. But that's obviously concerning. That's just that's Albert O levels of like going from like the starter to like a non-factor. So right now, I mean, he's not even like, what are there 28 teams playing this week? Yeah, he's not even in the top 28. So and by the way, Green Bay allowing the 3rd fewest catches per game to tight ends at 3, and the 3rd fewest receiving yards per game to tight ends at 27.2. So not a good matchup. And he was on the field for under a third of the pass plays last week.
Yep, I'm right there with you. I have him as my tight end 27, I believe. But heading into the season, we thought it was going to be a pretty even committee with Uzomah and Conklin. So Uzomah, he was banged up in week 2 and week 3, I believe. So now that he's healthy, And he ran more routes than Conklin last week. We just have to back off from the situation entirely. And like you said, I'm pretty low on all the Jets pass catchers. It really has to do with Breece Hall. Like, he is the offense right now. So the only guy I think is really startable is Breece Hall right now. So as a result, a guy like Conklin, he is off the radar, and I don't know why his consensus is tight end 12, other than people just recycling, I don't know, last week's rank to begin the week or something. But he is off the map right now. You should not be starting him until we see him running route over 70% of Zach Wilson's dropbacks. He is not startable.
Yeah, I think what people do, I don't think it's just the recycling. I think it's because people are using the season-long numbers. So it's like, he's averaging 4.2 catches a game, which I'm sure is pretty high among tight ends. But yeah, like, you got to take into account usage, changing. And I still haven't projected. So I'm using like half of last week's number and then half of his season long for the route. So I haven't projected to run exactly 50% of the routes, just kind of splitting it down the middle. And I have him at 2.2 catches for 20 yards. So
yeah, that makes a ton of sense. And again, I'm not knocking consensus. That goes back to my Abraham Lincoln quote. I'm not judging consensus based on Tuesday morning projections.
Right.
Obviously, but I think either way, we're both going to be much lower on him than ECR this week, would be my guess.
All right, where are we going with the prop?
Taysom Hill, total passing, rushing, and receiving yards against the Bengals this week. Man, this is a tough line to set, but I'm going with 58.5.
Ooh, that's a good one. Let's see. I have them.
And you can break down the the three various yardage paths.
I'm going under. I have it around.
Okay.
I have it around 52. I have 31 rushing, 3 receiving, and 18 passing.
It's hilarious. The one he's contributing to the least to is receiving yards. I tweeted yesterday that despite Travis Kelce scoring, 4 touchdowns, Taysom Hill was still the top tight end of the week with 0 receptions. That's Taysom Hill for you.
That is nuts. Yeah, he's only running around about 10% of the time. So, it comes down to his rushing. And I haven't projected. He has spent about 10% of his snaps at quarterback. He's just running on most of them, but I still have him for a couple of attempts because he did throw a touchdown last week. So, I haven't projected for about 2.5 attempts this week. Because like you said, I think, whether it's Jameis or Dalton, I think, they want to get him a couple of those snaps at quarterback, and they're continuing to do that. And like, the more he has success running, the more they can kind of set up those pass plays. So, and they're going to be big plays. Like if he hits a pass play. So I have, maybe it's aggressive, but I have him for 18 pass yards. So
what was your total projection there?
50, about 52. So
52. Okay.
Yeah, about 6 yards.
He's not going to end up anywhere near this. It'll be like 20 or 80, right?
Yeah, right.
I should have, maybe next week or the next time I have a Taysom Hill prop for you, I'll do a range like I used to. Like, will he finish between
I'm
40 and 65 yards? Trying to get a range, because that's going to be tough for him because he has a wide range of outcomes. But yeah, I think somewhere in the. I wonder if have you been noticing books floating props on him?
I haven't seen anything.
We're gonna get some this week though. For sure.
Yeah. I mean, outside of obviously anytime touchdown, but I would love to see that. I mean, honestly, if the books gave me a 58.5, I would bang the under. To be honest with you.
Yeah, because his median, right?
Yeah, the median, because you got to have 3 median. There's 3 different medians that you have to like lower.
Oh man, but yeah, you would bet on it though?
Yeah,
I think I would.
Yeah,
you would.
Yeah. Because all right, he just broke away on like 3 different runs. It's like. Those runs could easily get snapped. Like if just one of them gets like stuffed in the backfield and the others just go for normal yardage, like he's not coming anywhere close to this.
The Bengals are obviously going to scheme for that this week.
Exactly. So it's these things kind of have ebbs and flows. It's like, a guy like Taysom Hill, it's like when he's a package specific guy, it's like, I'm sure they're going to have ways to use him this week that are going to be different from last week. And honestly, at the goal line, I think, like for a touchdown, I think he's still a decent bet because the defense knows it's coming and they still just at the goal line, they just run him in anyway. So
if this prop, it's probably going to just be passing and rushing yards. I would think, if it's in the 60s or something, I would definitely hammer the under. But we'll see what they do with this week. But that should be exciting if they post one.
Get it up, FanDuel.